Before I call the next member, I thought it's probably appropriate to inform the House that it's my intention to rule out one of James Shaw's supplementary order papers, and that is the one to insert a new clause 4AA. It is, and I think the member probably is aware of the fact, outside the scope of the bill. All other SOPs so far received are in fact within scope. James Shaw.
Speak to that, Mr. Speaker.
So, point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. So, recognising it may be unusual, but the original Act, the 2002 Act, doesn't actually get us. It doesn't actually state in its purpose that we need to reduce our emissions in line with commitments, because it predates our commitments. And so the purpose of this amendment would be to amend the original Act, because otherwise it wouldn't give any effect to this bill. Because what the purpose of this bill, as stated in the preamble to this bill, is to give effect to our commitment. But the 2002 Act gives no effect to our commitment. So we actually need to change the 2002 Act in order to give effect to this bill, which is why we've put this amendment into place. So I recognise that is kind of circular, but the problem is that the current bill before the House wouldn't actually have any force, because the original 2002 Act is for a business as usual scenario, not a reduction in our emissions by 11% below 1990 levels by the year 2030, which is the government's commitment.
Well,
is that clear?
I can hear what the Minister said. I'm told that by someone beside me that she'd like to say something.
So speaking to the point of order, so if I'm reading it correctly, then what the member is proposing is actually that it align with New Zealand's nationally determined contribution. As the member would know, we took an INDC to Paris, and that doesn't become a national, it is still an intended nationally determined contribution until that is ratified, and we're not at ratified, so as a consequence of that, we actually don't have a nationally determined contribution as per the Paris Agreement yet.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reiterate my ruling. If the government becomes convinced that the scope of the bill needs to be widened by the inclusion of a clause such as this, I'm sure the government will bring it back and seek the leave of the House to extend the scope of the bill, or if it's possible for them to amend it. So I've ruled it out, and I've ruled it out on the basis of the advice that I've received from my right and left. Although of course it is my decision, and if that, as the member says, renders a bill ineffectual, then that is a problem that the Minister will have to sort out. A point of order?
Yeah, point of order.
Right, a new point of order, Megan Woods?
It's seeking your clarification, Mr. Chairman. It's just around the point the Minister made around that, and she's quite correct when she says that New Zealand doesn't have a nationally determined contribution at this stage until the Paris Agreement is ratified by New Zealand. If that amendment was changed to an intended nationally determined contribution, would that make a difference? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, I thank the member for her contribution, I will go back to my original point, and that is it's not the responsibility of the chair to sort out the scope of a bill, to extend the scope of the bill to make it effective. This amendment, even with a circular explanation, is outside the scope of the bill. And if the government wants to sort it out, that is something that they will have to do, and we can't do by moving an out-of-scope amendment from the floor. Does anyone else want to talk to this? No, is this the point of order, Dr. Graham, or is it's just a substantive call?
It would be a standard call.
Go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
So,